Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it anywhere and everywhere. You can even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works.
Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Then you can go ahead and distribute your podcast to Spotify and anywhere else podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take the conversation with your fans to the next level, Q&A polls are the best way to get them talking.
With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions.
And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. We've been using Spotify for Podcasters, and we highly recommend you give it a try. Download Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters and get started.
Welcome back to That's So Fringy podcast. We're here with another Fringy Morsel. That's right.
We're
back. You were a little pitchy, dog.
I was off.
It's okay.
It's been a while.
You know what? America has talent. It's just not there.
Right.
Where you are.
We're working on it. On it.
Well, hey, listen. I think this week for our Fringy Morsel, since we like to talk about all of the things, current events, I think we should talk about Travis Kelce and T Swizzle. Right? Everybody's talking about it. Who's not talking about this right now? Which is ridiculous. Which is why I don't really want to talk about it. But the things that we need to talk about tonight on this Fringy Morsel is to help people understand how ridiculous this really is. Because, I mean, do we think that this is a coincidence that Travis Kelce and T Swizzle are getting together? Like, is this weird to anybody else? No. I mean, come on, Bethany, you have thoughts on this. I know that for sure.
Well, there's a lot of numerology weirdness involved. They're both 33 years old. What was he?
He has 3.3 million.
Yeah, he just
followers.
hit 3.4 actually, like today. But he had 3.3 million followers.
There's a lot of weird number things. Eyes on the Right had a whole post about it.
Yes,
She's the best.
Go look at that because she's the expert.
Go check out Amy.
Yeah. But his jersey sales have increased like 400%. Like his podcast is the number one podcast over all categories. Like, how does that even work?
Yeah. And all they do is talk about football and brotherhood and that type of stuff. You know, it's like
brotherhood.
I get it. There's a lot of people that like Jason and Travis Kelce. They're, you know, they have a story, you know, they grew up together playing football, all of this different stuff. But there is a point where you have to say, how big does a football player need to be? Right. Or a basketball player or a soccer player for that matter. Why do they need to be celebrities? And I think that's where we really need to dig in on these type of subjects. When we start hearing that, you know, you have a famous person teaming up with a celebrity, we need to realize that this is on purpose. The NFL is a business. It's big business. I mean, Kristen was looking at the numbers of the jersey sales and it's like, what, 400 and something percent, you said?
Yeah.
I just don't understand how people don't see that they're doing this on purpose. But you ask anybody, like, what do you think about Taylor Swift? My buddy Jed brought it up in the Fringy chat. What do you guys think about Taylor Swift? And there's people out there that say, well, you know, she makes good music. And he says, you know, like, what about the fact that she's a witch? And they're like, well, but she makes good music, you know? And that's weird to me, you know, because how do we know that she's a witch? Well, if you've been paying attention to the stuff that we've been talking about, you can see that there's definitely some weird stuff going on in her stage performances. If you really pay attention to these stage performances, you're seeing rituals going on. And what are these rituals for? Any guesses?
From us? or from the
Yeah.
audience?
I don't know who you're asking.
I'm talking to you.
Oh, well, you looked. Oh, you have crazy eyes.
I mean,
You're
if you
looking
think
everywhere.
about it,
I do have crazy eyes.
what does she gain from doing these rituals? Obviously, she's getting some kind of energy, some kind of, something to where, I mean, obviously we all know about the Travis Scott situation that happened. What was that, like
Astro
2 or
World?
3 years ago?
Right.
Yeah.
But she had something similar at one of
Yes.
her concerts.
This is the very same thing where people are coming out of her concerts not remembering.
Mhm.
A lot of people passing out. Like, she's pulling energy from these people
Right.
who are just there worshiping her. I mean,
Right.
they're
Mhm.
literally there worshiping her. I don't even know.
If you look into any like Greek mythology, Norse mythology, like any of that stuff, the central theme is always you get worship from your peasants, basically, and that's what elevates you. And that's where, if you look at even when the Watchers came down and all this stuff that happened, they wanted the adoration for themselves, right?
Mhm.
So you've got Taylor Swift up there, wants the adoration for herself. She basically like a god.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, so she's harnessing energy. She's doing rituals. All of this stuff. And then you link in, I think people don't realize how much a celebrity or a sports figure can sway their opinion of things. They don't have any idea that it's happening because it's been happening for so long, but they can sway your opinion like that.
Yeah, it's called programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, I think it was her concert in Seattle, in Washington somewhere, and the tickets were going, like, the cheapest ticket was like $600
Yeah, I saw that.
for like nosebleed seats.
Right.
I mean, an insane
Yikes.
amount of money. I mean, where does that money go? I understand they have to pay stagehands and whatever else, but like, that's insane.
That's an insane amount of money.
Well, yeah, you have to think about, you're paying them so that they can take your energy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because if you look at a stadium from the sky, what does it look like? It looks like a gigantic eye,
Mhm.
right?
Eyeball.
They made these stadiums to collect energy from the people, you know? So when you have the gladiators down there doing their thing, i.e. football players, then you're getting all of that energy. I mean, just think of how loud those stadiums are and how much energy is going during those. It's insane. And if you can
I'm telling you what, we were at Autzen Stadium. Was it? It was like the Cal game. It was right before we went to the national championship or whatever it was. And the volume in that stadium was so loud, I literally felt like my brain was going to explode. I mean, it was just like I was screaming as loud as I could scream, and I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah.
Like, it was so loud in there. So you take the sports arena, and then you take the celebrity musician arena, and you mold those together. Like, come on! I'm surprised they don't do this more often, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, you've seen it with like A-Rod and J-Lo, and like all throughout time, there's been, there's always these sports figures that are dating these supermodels or all of these other people. And it's like, what are they trying to do? Well, it's a business. We already talked about it. They're trying to make more money. They're trying to take your money, and they're trying to take your energy. And I just don't know why we're still doing it. Like Chris and I stopped going to concerts because we were just like, we're not really getting anything from it. I always leave feeling exhausted because they're sucking my energy, and we're bickering the whole time. It's just like a negative atmosphere. And so we just stopped going because it's all just partying and drunkardness. And like, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you that's not what I want to be a part of, because I call myself a Christian. And if I'm going to say that I'm a Christian, then we're not going to put ourselves in that type of a situation. And it's hard because you like music. You learn. I mean, I was a DJ for a long time. I'm obsessed with music. I love music, but I've had to really, reel back a little bit and get to the point where I realized that there is a lot of control in this music that we listen to. I mean, if you listen to the words of some of these songs, and that's what I don't understand why Travis Kelce is even with this chick, because she tells you exactly who she is in her songs. Like she's a freak. Like she can't do a relationship to save her life. She can't do it. And she's with all of these people all of the time. Like she was with, who was that dude she was with for a while? Gosh.
There's been a
was it the watermelon? Was she with that guy for a while? What's that guy's name?
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. Was she with him for a while?
Yeah.
I think so. She was. I think she was with him for a while. And that dude's like, he wears fingernail paint now. He's got like dresses like a girl.
She ruined him
all the time now. And it's like, why is it that they have to wear a dress or start looking like a girl? Why do they do that? Well, we talked about it, when we started talking about our trans episode and all those different things. This is how they do their humiliation rituals. Mm-hmm. They get these people to do this stuff. LeBron James, he's worn a dress before. Deion Sanders, Big Deion, he's in the news all the time. He's worn a dress on TV, national television. So it's like, what is it that makes them have to wear a dress to go to the next level? And if you pay attention to those symbols and signs, you see that as soon as they wear that dress, or as soon as they start dressing the opposite sex, their career starts to skyrocket. Right.
Well, and there's different levels of it. One of the rituals being, somebody in your family has to die, which is very reminiscent of the skinwalkers, that whole ritual. Yeah. But people don't think that happens in a place like Hollywood or Nashville or whatever, where all these, it's the same. They're all worshiping the same thing. They're all doing the same rituals. They just look a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But if you look at all the celebrities who have had a really close relative die and then they kind of shot to stardom, it's staggering. Like,
yeah, I mean, you've got
listen to Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he talks about it. Yeah, clearly he has some major regrets about it, because I'm not a Kanye fan by any means, but he's straight up said, my mom was a sacrifice.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of celebrities who have said it, and you're like, wait, what did he just say? I mean, they're talking about how they've got clones and how you can't get out of the Illuminati once you get in. Once you've done your ritual and you've done your thing, you can't get out. And they don't know how to get out. So either it's suicide or what, nothing. You just keep doing it. And which breaks my heart, because if a person is just trying to go to the next level, they make a choice. And we've all made mistakes in our lives. I'll be the first to say. But is it a mistake that's going to get you stuck in the Illuminati for the rest of your life? Like, that's a big deal. And maybe they didn't know at the time. Maybe they were blackmailed.
Right. That's the whole thing, is I think is getting people to know that it's happening, so that we as a society can know that it's happening, so that, because me at 18, if I went into a room and, if I had a voice and could sing and they said, will you do this stuff? And I would be like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, I just want to be famous and sing my music. Yeah. I would have done it. I can't sing, and I would have never, but I would have done it. Like, so because I didn't know that all this stuff was a thing. Because I grew up in a very Christian bubble, like we didn't have the internet. So we didn't know as much as we know now. So really, it's almost like God's probably up there like, come on, guys, like I'm giving you everything here. Like, why are we still making these choices? You have everything that you need to know.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of wives woke up. Well, yeah, cognitive dissonance for sure. But a lot of wives woke up to football for the first time. Like there's a guy on Instagram. I think it's a Marine with a sign or something like that. He just holds up these signs, and it said something about his wife finally knows who Travis Kelce is, because it's like you. Well, yeah. You don't even know.
It's not just his jerseys. It's the Chiefs ticket price. Like all of their tickets, their sales have gone through the roof. Like all of their merchandise has gone through the roof. Like that just in the number of searches of Chiefs, Travis Kelce, all of that stuff it's like exploded.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Gaga. You know, everybody was Gaga for Gaga. She was like the biggest thing. People were standing in line. They were dressing up in her weird outfits and everything like that. And then come to find out she's like a big time Satanist, you know, and she was casting spells on people too, and a dude, and probably the son of the chick that they want to be the ambassador. Zelensky,
Marina Abramovich.
Yeah, Zelensky just asked her to be.
Yeah,
she's a spirit cooker. Like, do we not know what's really going on out there? You guys, we have to pay attention. We have to wake up. This is ridiculous. I mean, I personally believe that they're showing you stuff on purpose, that they're making it very obvious to you so that you can wake up. I believe God is doing a movement throughout the whole entire world through a certain amount of people that are trying to help us wake up. And we've been in a slumber for way too long. And this type of conversation is the conversations that we need to have, because we should not be glorifying Travis Kelce, especially when he's pointing to his arm in his new Pfizer commercial, talking about how you can get a 2-for-1. You can get a flu shot and a COVID vaccine. How convenient is that? And you're just like, those things are killing people. And I'm probably going to get pulled off this episode just for saying that. But those things are killing people. And I don't care what anybody says. The evidence is clear. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy wrote a whole book about Fauci and about how he's the devil, man. He's a bad dude. And he's been trying to kill people for a very long time. He had part in the AIDS epidemic. He had part in all of the stuff. I mean, we have to wake up. And I think it was 2020, you know, losing the election to Biden. A lot of people just had a hard time with that. But then getting locked down and all of that stuff, it really woke people up to the fact that there's pressure on you now. Now you have to do something. Now you have to.
That's when the programming kicked in like double time, because I think they started to realize, hey, people have all this time on their hands and they're listening to podcasts and they're they're searching for stuff on the internet that they probably shouldn't, because it doesn't fit our agenda. So here, let's ramp things up like big time.
And it was a full court press, and people were on both sides of the fence, as we know. You know, people were just completely shunned from their own families. There was a whole lot of people that were really, really into wearing the mask and getting the vaccine, and everybody was really scared, which I get. Like, if you're deep in propaganda land, of course, right? If you're so stuck in the matrix that you don't even know you're in the matrix, then you're going to fall for everything that they tell you, because you have been your whole life, right? But now that people are waking up and kind of getting out of the matrix, now you see the agents coming, where now you're waking up to the fact that there's agents that are coming in and trying to change your mind all the time, calling you names, propagandizing you to the point of where the president of the United States is standing up on a stage telling you that if you don't get the vaccine, then you're un-American and you don't, like, what? Like, no, this is a medical procedure that we all individually should be able to reason in our own mind and take whether we want it or not. You know, that's our decision. It's not up to the president of the United States. It's not up to our companies to lock us down. These corporate, you know, people that think that they can just lock down a whole people, like the whole world. They locked everybody down, and it blows my mind that we're still falling for this stuff. After, you know, in 2023, we should be awake now. Like, this is taking a long time because people aren't waking up. They're still obsessing over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Like, this is a real good marker to show how asleep you are. If you're obsessed with Taylor Swift, then you've been bamboozled. You have. You've
been, what's that? What do they call that when a glamour?
Yeah.
Like, literally the word glamour, and it's part of the witchcraft where they make you see what you want to see. Like, it's It's Witchcraft 101.
Come on, guys. Witchcraft 101. But we have to know this stuff. We have to understand that this is an agenda. We've been saying that from the beginning of this podcast. This is an agenda. If you don't think that they're putting those two together on purpose, come on. If you don't think that him and his brother's podcast is the number one podcast right now for no reason, just a coincidence,
right?
Like, I don't think so. You know, it's clear to me, but you know, everybody has to make their own decision. Everybody else has to see. And all we're trying to do is bring as much information to the table so that people can make a well-informed decision, because the NFL isn't going to tell you that they're trying to trick you.
Right.
You know,
right.
The music industry isn't going to tell you that they're trying to trick you.
They wouldn't lie to you.
Right. Your government's not going to tell you that they're in bed with all of them and that they have parties together and do spirit cooking together and torture children together. Like, they're not going to tell you all of that. They're not going to tell you that Taylor Swift looks exactly like Anton LaVey's wife.
Daughter.
Which is weird.
Xena.
Isn't that weird? What is her name?
Xena.
Xena
LaVey. Go look it up, because
if they're not related,
they're related.
We're not related.
Taylor Swift is Xena LaVey's daughter, which would make her Anton LaVey's granddaughter.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, if you put the pictures together.
We need that little, what's that meme where the guy's sitting at a little table, like in a park, and there's a sign in front and it just says, change my mind. This would be Bethany on this topic. She would be sitting there like,
change my mind.
Taylor Swift is Anton LaVey's granddaughter. Change my mind.
It's true, though. I mean, if you haven't seen the pictures side by side, we'll put them on the website for you to see.
As long as you don't put on the picture of Napoleon Dynamite side by side, because that one, I died a little bit. Like, it's so funny to me.
I cannot make any promises, but if you go to the Fringy chat right now, you may or may not be in there. Yeah. I mean,
anyway, morsels.
Do I believe that Napoleon Dynamite is Taylor Swift? I don't know, but they look a lot alike. It's really interesting.
A lot of open mouth breathing.
They have a lot of CPAP machines.
And she used to, if you remember when she was country, she used to have super curly hair.
Oh, yeah.
Super curly hair.
I liked that Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I did. And her voice is beautiful, but
we just want you guys to know that, yes, she can write good songs. She's very talented.
Writing them.
Do you think that they're going to grab somebody that's not talented, you know, and put them in front of the American public? No, they're going to find a talented person that they can control. Right. And that's what they have in Taylor Swift. I think that she's fully controlled, and she may or may not be a handler for all. Well, and we got a little peek
behind.
Dudes.
Right. We got a little peek behind the curtain of the music industry from Zachary King that came on, and there was even some stuff that we didn't put in the episode because it was pretty like graphic, but we know that this is happening. Like, this is not a question of whether this is happening or not. We know this is happening. The music industry is controlled. The professional athletes are controlled. It's all
scripted.
It's all scripted. So just remember that.
And then look at the agenda that they're pushing.
Right. And then read between the lines. And then you don't even have to read between the lines anymore. Just read the lines.
Yeah.
Like, it's just pretty read the lines and you'll be good.
Yeah.
If you think you're awake, then you'll see it. I mean, it's not really that hard to see. If you're listening to this and you're like, these guys are nuts, what are they talking about? You have more research to do. We're not telling you that you're wrong or that you're dumb or any of that. We're just saying you have more research to do, because there's a lot of connections that can be made if you take the time to make them.
And if you're a Christian, pray for discernment. Pray for the scales to be removed, because God will answer those prayers.
Right.
But you have to really want to know what's going on.
And it's hard. I mean, when you're talking about child sacrifice and all that stuff, I get it. It's tough. And a lot of people, and I've said it before on the podcast, a lot of people just don't want to hear it because it's too hard. But that's the problem right?
Yeah.
Doing nothing because it's too hard to deal with in your mind is not an excuse.
No, and that's how they've been allowed to get away with what they've gotten away with, is because you have an entire culture of people that are like, they wouldn't do that. She makes great music. She wouldn't be a witch.
Well, she is.
Instead of flip-flopping it, because that's what the world wants you to believe. So flip-flop it and think how God wants you to believe is that she's making good music because she's a witch, because she is using demonic forces to make music.
Yeah.
So flip, you got to flip a switch in your brain.
And who does God want to be famous? Nobody. He wants
Himself.
Jesus to be famous, right? He wants to magnify his own glory and his own righteousness so that everybody else is on the same level playing field, striving for righteousness, trying to love each other. He doesn't care about fame. He doesn't want anybody to be famous. He doesn't care about that. Jesus made that very clear. And so if we're like goo goo gaga over these people, that's a problem because we should be elevating Jesus, not T-Swizzle. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Preach it.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to start a new segment.
Signing off.
Ridiculous shirts that Rick wears to embarrass his wife. This is Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
I told you so.
I've been trying to tell you. I mean,
I TQ'd you so.
Told you.
TQ'd. All right, you guys, this has been another Fringy Morsel. We've had a good time talking about it, and we hope that you had a good time listening to it. We hope that you tune in again this Sunday because we are going to have on a gentleman from Australia that you are
down under.
Down under. He's going to have a good time talking to us, and we're going to have a good time talking to him. I don't know. It might have been good.
You're really good at the Australian.
It might have been good. It might have been terrible. We'll ask him soon. All right, you guys, have a good time with this episode. It's all in good fun. Hopefully you realize that we love each and every one of you, and we're just trying to bring information to the forefront of your mind because we love you. That being said, we are out of here. Bye.
We love you. Bye.